Hey everyone, it's Samara, finally back with some good scrapbooking. I just received this super cute collection. This is Kate and Ash from Simple Stories. I ordered it from paperissues.com. These last two papers are not Kate and Ash. Those are an Easter collection, which is still super cute. Look, I store all of my ephemera in these cute little 4x6 containers. I pulled out some distress oxides that I am going to be using for this. I'm going to be starting off with tumbled glass, and I'm using the packaging technique where I stamp the ink on packaging, water it down, and then smash it onto the cardstock. And I'm using basil marshmallow cardstock. I'm also going to be using wild honey as well as bundled sage. This little template is, I believe it is a really old Heidi Swap um, um, cutout. So I'm just going to go ahead and use that to sponge in some polka dots using the Wild Honey Distress Oxides. And finally, I'm going to go ahead and use some bundled sage, and I'm just going to water this down and then use my paintbrush to add some splatters. And I'll be honest, I got a little carried away with the splatters, but hey, you know what? That's okay. Do you, boo. I do take a considerable amount of time to dry my paper. I usually do that off camera. Again, going through the papers in this collection, I pull out the polka dots as well as that cute little Jeep paper. And those polka dots are like a perfect match for the wild honey. I decide to go ahead and map my photo using those polka dots. But before I do that, I like to cut out the middle of the paper because I do like to border my scrapbook pages. So it just kind of helps me to get a lot of usage out of my papers. So I'm going to go ahead and trim that out using my paper trimmer. And then I think I'm going to go ahead and border my page. So I'm going to cut off, I'm actually going to cut off a considerable amount. So I think I ended up cutting off a ½ inch on each side. So my final white paper there in the middle is 11 by 11. And I like to use my ATG to go ahead and apply the adhesive to the bottom page, not the top. Go ahead and position that in. Make sure it's square, and I'm good. So now I'm going to go ahead and add some of this Jeep paper, which is like seriously adorable. And for this particular one, I was not following a sketch or anything, so just kind of going with what the paper told me to do. So there you see I have the Jeep paper, and I decide here that I want the picture of my daughter at an angle. And I think that I'm going to be using one of those title stickers, so I'm kind of planning in my head what I'm going to do for those stickers. So first things first, I'm going to use some craft foam to go ahead and elevate my picture just a little bit. I don't know what I ever did before craft foam. It is amazing. So going through my embellishments, I have chipboard embellishments as well as paper embellishments in there. So I'm just going through and rapidly pulling out a few that may or may not end up on the layout. And as you can see, The embellishments are super cute if you have a teen or a tween girl. I mean, like, they are so spot on. There is another kit that is geared for boys called Bro & Co, and that one is equally adorable. So here I decided that I want to add some black, and I was debating whether or not I was going to add black cardstock or use these black hearts. So I decided to go with this heart paper instead, and again, reserving that outside so I can border a page. So I'm just going to go ahead and adhere that down and then trim that up. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and position that right in the center of the layout. Again, with the picture of my daughter right there in the middle at a slight little tilt. And I decide that I was debating between whatever and flawless. So I think I end up deciding on whatever. So this stage always seems so permanent once you start putting glue down onto the page. So here we go, pulling off that whatever thicker. Those are so super cute. All right. So going back to my embellishment box, I feel like pretty confident that I'm going to use those little glasses. But then I'm deciding right now that I feel like I need more paper on the layout. So I decide to cut some banners. And so I just cut, I think it was like I think it was 1¼ inch strips that I cut. And then I will further cut those down by 1. So it's a 1¼ by 1. And then I'm going to cut those out in either a triangle banner or a rectangle banner with the bottom cut out. So you'll see that coming up pretty soon. My hearts were angled the wrong way, so I had to cut another sheet there because I wanted them oriented the correct way. So oftentimes when I don't have the embellishments in the kit that I want, I will use something like this to help me out. So I'm going ahead and just kind of placing those onto the layout just for an idea of what it's going to look like, the flow, etc. And I ended up going away from this design just slightly. I wish I had actually gone with this. My next one is how I end up putting it down ends up being a little bit symmetrical. So go ahead and pull out some blue and white twine, pull off my banners, and what I'm going to do here is use a piercer to go ahead and pierce the middle so that it looks like the twine is wrapped around those words, like those words are holding the banner in place. And I had a really tough time feeding that through, as you can see. And I left that in so that you could see that, you know what, yeah, I struggle too. So I go ahead and just tie that into a knot up there. And then I'm going to use the red top glue from Fine Line, also available in the Paper Issues shop. to go ahead and just stick my twine down, and I'll do that to both sides. Next up, I'm going to go ahead and put my banner back in place. And as you can see, I did deviate a little bit from my original design. I decide here that those banners need to be popped up a little bit, so I'm going to go ahead and get my my craft foam, cut out some pieces, and then just elevate all of those banner pieces up, just a teeny tiny bit. And I'm just positioning those banners just over the top of that twine so that it looks like the twine is really holding those banners. And I apologize for my nose getting in the way there. I don't know what happened with my camera. Apparently, I moved or something moved, and so I end up being in frame. All right, so don't forget to put the top back on your glue bottle. That's super, super important. So I decided to go ahead and anchor the sides of the banner. Again, using my paper piercer. So I'm just going to go ahead and feed that twine through, and then bring it back up through the top, and then kind of tie it off so that the twine hangs to the bottom. So it just adds for a fun little element. And I will repeat that step onto the other side. One thing I figured out is I started off by making very small holes, and I realized that I had to make the holes much bigger in order to fit the twine through. All right, so I am just about done here. I am going to add a small cluster to the bottom in just a minute, but before I do that, I decide to go ahead and outline excuse me, each of those banner pieces with a black marker, just to add a little bit of definition, because some of them blend in with the background papers, so it just pops them off just a tiny bit. And I decide to go ahead and do that with that Jeep paper as well. So again, going back to my embellishments, I know for sure I'm going to use those glasses, but I'm trying to decide what to use next. I do love that little dog. It's super cute. So just kind of picking through. Something that I do, I don't know if you'll be able to see it right there. So in the top of my embellishment container, you'll see that I do reserve the index, which kind of helps me know what is in that package. So just fun little tip. So I have this cool little water bottle, hydro flask, sunglasses, and those little words say, love yo selfie. And I'm going to be honest, I'm pretty sure that I stole this picture off of my daughter's Instagram, because she doesn't always share the pictures that she takes with me. So again, just kind of going through, are there any more pieces in that embellishment set that I want to use? So just making some quick decisions as to what's going to go, what's not going to go. And I end up deciding right here to add a couple more banner pieces um, because I just needed a little bit more down there at the bottom. And I did go ahead and pop those sunglasses up onto some foam dots. And those sunglasses are chipboard. So I did just go ahead and, not popped ups, foam. So I just added two little banners there at the bottom. And I'm going to add that little heart, conversation heart. I love that, super cute. And then finally, go ahead and date stamp this with, I don't even know what the date was, 5/8/16. So I had to go back to my phone. So here is my finished project. Some detail shots for you. And then finally, coming up at the end, go ahead and save yourself 20% over at the paper issue shop using my code, Samara.